isn't it?
We have these around Katy, but we don't have them around close to our school. I wish we had these. We call them the little bayous they build in the subdivisions around the schools.
Yeah. Wow, it got really quiet and I didn't even say anything. That was crazy. How the heck is everybody? Yeah? All right, let's start this morning by what questions do you have about anything that we've gone over or that you would like to go over that we haven't covered already? Questions? Don't be shy. Nobody?
Or going from the high school level mileage to college level mileage and training, what would you recommend for that assumption for that?
I would say, depending on where you're going, okay, the jumps may be more significant or they might be less. I was talking to Coach once this morning about an athlete that went to a college system and he actually ran less mileage, and it was a more quality-based kind of thing. And not to say that one program is way better than the other or anything like that. I mean, all programs that have success, they have a methodology about how they get to that success. I think I would say investigate the schools that you're interested in and most align to the mileage that maybe you feel you would like to be a part of. And then through conversations with the coach, map out a plan. I mean, there are some schools that they don't believe in like redshirting like freshmen, and there's some schools that push freshmen to redshirt. There's some that, through a conversation with the athletes, you guys know what redshirt means?
Yep.
If you don't know what redshirt means, it just means that when you're going to college your freshman year, it means like you're training with the team. When you're racing unattached. In college, you get 4 years of eligibility to compete over a 5-year period. You get 4 years of cross country, 4 years of indoor track, and 4 years of outdoor track, and you have to complete it over a 5-year period. In Division I, your clock starts as soon as you graduate from high school. You get 5 years to complete your eligibility, unless it's for religious reasons or military reasons. In Division II, we don't have that rule. We have a 10-semester rule. And so you could go to school for like 2 or 3 years. You could sit out 10 years. You still come back and you have 2 years. It's a kind of a different thing. My point would be is that if you're going to redshirt, then you have more time to try to get to a certain level to make an impact or to reach your goals. One of the things, and I don't force any kid to redshirt. I mean, we have this conversation, and one thing I always explain to them, distance running, you get better every year if you do it right. You get better every year if you do it right. And so it's not like you're trading the first year for your second year. You're trading your first year for year 5. Are you going to be better as a 5th-year athlete or a first-year athlete? 5th year, right? Where you're better, I would hope that you're better as a senior in college than you are as a freshman, or a senior in high school than you are as a freshman in high school. And so it's that kind of scenario. So with a lot of the kids that I have, mileage-wise, I send them a summer training program, that June 1st date, and we start to, bridge the gap. I don't take them from where they're at and try to get them all the way there, but I try to get them part of the way there. And so then over the fall, I can kind of continue to do that. Okay? So that's how we manage that a little bit. All right? Other questions? Good question. Other questions? No one? I'm pleading. All right. One of the things that I wanted to say, and I know that we touched on it quite a bit during camp, is there's a lot about physiology that you need to know. There's a lot about training methodology that you need to know. There's a lot about nutrition that you need to know, or flexibility that you need to know, and running biomechanics that you need to know. And then it comes to this point that you have to make a decision. Do I really want to follow this regimen to reach the levels of success that I would like to reach? You know? Do I really want to do it? Because number one is, if you decide you really want to do something and you prioritize it as being important, then that is going to be your greatest impetus to improvement. You have to value it. It's like anything in life. If you don't value it, then certainly, you're not going to be achieving at the level. And then when you go to test day, whether you're taking a test or whether you're running a race or whatever, when those tests come along, you're not prepared and you stress out. Or you flunk, or you don't make the grade that you would like to make. And like I said the other day, is that if you're really going to put your time and effort into this, and you're going to go to practice, and you're going to wake up at 6:30 and go run, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that, then certainly it's important that while you're there, focus on the task at hand. Nothing bothers me more than I have athletes that come to practice and they're distracted, they're talking about all the negative things that went on in their day, and I'm thinking, focus for an hour, focus on being a good teammate. Focus on doing something positive. Focus on bringing some positive energy to the group. Because if you can bring positive energy to the group is going to go a lot farther. I'm sure some of you guys have probably heard this parable before, but it's one that I really, really like. The little boy walking along the beach, and there's thousands, maybe millions of starfish that have washed up on the beach. And one by one, he's walking by and he's throwing them back into the ocean. And then this old man walks up and says, "Hey, Sonny, don't knock yourself out. You're never going to make a dent here. You're never going to make a difference." The boy pauses for a few minutes and thinks, and he reached down, he picked one more up, and he threw it in the ocean. He says, "I'll make a difference for that one." What an unbelievable foresight and a parable for a young man to say something with that foresightful. It's easy to sit there and think, I'm not talking to you, and be narcissistic and think, how in the world can I make a difference? I know that I'll never make the difference in the world. I know that. I just try to do it in my own little space, And that's what I'm saying with you. Each and every one of you has to have the mentality that you're going to make a difference on your team, in your school, in your community. But basically, I'm talking about your program. If you want your program to get to a higher level, then you have to take it upon yourself. Don't wait for the next person to do it. The other thing is that sometimes people, and I know how this works in team dynamics, sometimes when some person stands up and starts to talk about, hey, we need to work harder and we need to do, some people think, who the hell is that to be telling me what to do? I'm faster than him. That's a crappy attitude. Because anybody that is trying to make the program better is somebody worth listening to. Jump in with both feet. Always realize the way you handle yourself and the way you talk can make a difference on whether that information is going to be accepted readily or ousted. Make sure that you approach your teammates in a way that you say, hey, I know that we need to do this. What do we want to do? What are our goals? And then how can we get there? How can we get there? And then sit and talk about it. And then say, let's set our goals. And then not only let's set our goals, but then let's write down what it's going to take to reach our goals. And then as you guys come up with certain goals and then covenants in your program, then you have something to hold people accountable to. Some of the upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, you need to take that responsibility and say, this is what I'm going to try to do for my program. If I don't take anything back more than knowledge, I'm going to try to take this attitude back where I can make an impact. I think if you do that, then you guys are really going to have something worthy of having. I don't care what place you are. I've told you countless stories of people that I've been proud of that were committed to the program, that tried their very, very damnedest to make it as good as they could, but they try to put their imprint on it. They want to put their name on it. And they want to be proud that they're associated with other people that feel the same way. You know? These are the important things that you can do. You're in control. You have to realize that it's easy to sit back and whine and complain about not having the greatest situation. Some of you guys come from unbelievable situations, and I'm in awe of the coaches that have come with you. I am. It's more than usual, and it is amazing. And you ought to be very, very thankful that they take the time out of their schedule to spend part of their summer bringing young people to learn and educate and be a part of it. You know? I'd say, but there's no excuses. What our society wants to do is if it doesn't happen right away and it doesn't happen real quickly, or it's not just perfect, you're going to say, it just wasn't meant to be, I don't have that situation, you know, blah, 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 blah. In life, you either do it or you don't. There is a wealth of information out there. Be motivated to pursue excellence. Be motivated. Don't rest on being average. In the way you think, in the way you handle yourselves, and what your goals are, put the bar up there and work relentlessly to make something great happen. Why not you? Why not you? You know? I guarantee you, and I tell my athletes a lot of this, there's people that make Olympic teams. There's people that make Olympic teams that there's probably 10 or 15 people in this room that have that ability. There's people that are going to win national titles that probably 30 people in this room have that ability. There's people that make All-State that sometimes are not the most all-talented people, that there's probably 100 people in this room that have that ability. Think big. Think big. Believe and make it happen. That's your job. That's your job. Be excited about it. You are part of the greatest sport on the planet. I'm proud. I just don't allow other over in my place. I'm proud because, over the years in the history, we're the show. Develop that mentality and that pride in your program. Don't let some other person put your sport down. I'm not saying get in an argument or fight. Just outthink them. Some of those big guys, some of those big football players, how hard are they to outthink? Yeah. You know what Coach Feehill calls them? He calls football players dinosaurs. You know why? Big body, little bitty brain. Right? Outthink them. Be proud of your program. Think, I'm from wherever you're from, and be proud of it. I work with a bunch of people who are committed to trying to, and I want to tell you, one of my pet peeves about this whole sport stuff with track and field and cross country, and I hear it all the time, that's an individual sport. That's an individual sport. I take great pride, and I hope you guys heard, and I'm really proud to say that last night, a lot of the things that I heard from the kids is that their team is important to them. Their family is important to them. You know, they want to do it for something bigger than themselves. And that's something that is our program. It's something I think you can take back to your program that will really elevate what you're capable of doing. And you think, how does that do that? But I'm going to tell you, it takes a great amount of pressure off of you when you have that kind of mentality. When you're out there and you're only running for yourself, and you're running for individual glory, it may happen. And when you get done, who do you share it with? I'm going to tell you, if you're out there and you're running for the team glory, it's been my experience that so much more larger percentages of the group will overachieve what they're capable of doing is because they're not going to let somebody else down. If you're out there and you're running for yourself, and you start to hurt a little bit, or maybe you start to hurt a lot, and you're running and you're at mile, 3 or mile 2.75 of a 5K, and you got a quarter of a mile to go, and you're really hurting, you're having a bad day, you're not where you need to be, and you're in the state meet, or you're in the national meet, and you're not where you need to be. Maybe you're a kid that could have been in the top 15 at the state meet, and you're running in the 30s or the 40s. What motivates you to try to outkick 5 more people? Because if you're only out there running for yourself, you think, well, I'm not getting what I want anyway. Who cares? Why should I care? It's not happening today. If you run for a program, you think, maybe I can still make a difference. I know it hasn't been great for me, but maybe I can still do something. And you run hard to the finish and you try to pass 2 or 3 more people, and sometimes that is all the difference in the world. I cannot tell you the amount of national titles that we've won, that we probably shouldn't have won, that I don't know that we were the best team or the most talented team. But boy, 90% of the time, when they come that day, I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but I guarantee you that come that day, the kids are going to care and they understand this responsibility thing. And more often than not, we've won a lot of 2 or 3 or 5, 10-point victories because our kids, not so much the leader, because the leader only can have a couple points where they can go a little bit better, but sometimes it's that kid that's in 5th, 6th, 7th, that's inspired, that does something tremendous to make the program better. I don't want to hear excuses. I had a girl one time that was down just down the road here, about 30 miles down the road here. She never ran cross country in high school. Never ran cross country in high school. I've known her since she was yay high. My best buddy is his niece. She was an all-state volleyball player. She was all-state MVP of a basketball tournament, and just ran track, never ran cross country. I told her all the time, "You're going to run cross country and track for me." And she'd say, "Okay." Her senior year, she decided, okay, I'm going to do it. She'd never run before. Her freshman year, she came in and she worked really hard in the summer. She came in and she lo and behold, she was like her 7th runner. She was on the team, and she didn't redshirt. She started to make a little progress. I think by the time we went up to the CU Rocky Mountain Shootout, she was our 5th runner. She had some calf problems and had to drop out of the race. Really devastated her. Really devastated her. We started training again. We went to the conference meet, and she was our 5th runner, and we won by like 1 point. At the same time, she was falling apart a little bit, and the other girls from the other schools were reeling her in, And so I'm like, oh, this might not be good, And regionals, sure enough, she kind of fell apart. These other girls came flying by her, and we got beat by a rival school by about 7, 8 points. The night before the national meet, the other girls came into the room, and we were going to have a team meeting, and they started talking, and the upperclassmen, God bless them, they said to her, we haven't done our job. Maybe we should have worked a little harder in the summer. Maybe we should have done a little bit better. And they were crying, and they said, we will work hard tomorrow because that is not going to be on you whether we win or lose. It's a team effort, and we need to take ownership. What do you think it did to that girl? It inspired her. She said, I don't know what I'll do tomorrow, but I'll give you guys everything I got. So we gave her a race plan, and she started off in the 100, like around 100, you know? And as the race started to go on, she moved up into the 70s. And she stayed there until about a half a mile to go. And people were counting, and they said, yo, you guys are about 10 points down, 10, 15 points down. They were telling the kids on the thing, you know. And so the girls up front, so they were running awesome, the seniors. They were running awesome. They were all up in the top group. And this poor freshman's back here battling it. And when she realized, holy crap, those girls are doing what they said they were going to do, and that's a hard thing. Because I'll give you another example on the men's side here in a minute. It's a hard thing to say, I'm going to do this because I've trained to it, I've trained for it, it's important to me, it's important to this program. I'm going to stand up and say something, and then I'm going to back it up. They did that. That girl, with a half a mile to go, passed 25 girls. Passed 25 girls. We won by 3 points. A national title. A freshman that had never run cross country before won the national title. It was a team effort. She really came through. Inspiring, you know. This last year, I had a special. I think you probably heard the guys talk about a special group of young men. Special group of young men, and it really was one of those things that was unfortunate indoors. We got disqualified in a relay. It could have gone either way, and they decided to pull it, and we lost. Those points would have helped us win the national title. Those guys took it really hard. Sometimes the guys that care the most, guys, the big tough ones, they were crying. Guys. Because you got to realize that they've trained not only for 4 years, maybe 8 or 10 years of their lifetime to get to the point. They'll never make the $1 million that Usain Bolt makes. But they're proud to put their colors on, their team name on, not because they're getting paid. Maybe, you know, some of them have scholarship in this, but it's more than that, trust me. It's about the fiber of what they are about. They've invested way too much to give less than their best. And so at the national meet, we had a lot of great speeches. Some that I think were really good because they were funny and it really relaxed the group. Some because it was really intense. And then we had a guy, I was inspired. We had in our school, we've had a lot of different champions in different events. 100 hurdles, 110 hurdles. You know, we've had kids in the 400 hurdles. We've had kids in different events. But we're relatively known for why you're here. You know, the 800 meters up. We've kind of dominated those areas in our division for a long time. But we had a guy, a 100-meter guy, and he went to school in Lincoln in Pennsylvania, and he transferred to our school, and he was a 10:40. He ran 10:38 before he had come here, 10:37 or 10:38 in 100 meters. He ran 10:42 early on in the season and kind of stagnated a little bit and wasn't getting in, you know, he hadn't made any big improvements. This guy is a strong young man. He is solid, okay? He's a solid young man. Very muscular, built really well to be a sprinter. He got up in front of the kids and he started tearing up a little bit. He says, you know what? I've never felt better about myself that I'm a part of a group like this. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I could ever be in a situation where I could be in a program where it means something, where I'm a part of something I feel good about, where I feel like I have brothers that are, you know. Here's this guy, a sprinter, saying this. And he says, I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to make the final. He was the next to the last guy to make it into the national meet. He was like 15th ranked. Okay? Next to the last guy getting into the national meet. And he's crying a little bit. And he says, tomorrow I'm going to run for you guys and I'm going to shock the world. Sure enough, the next day he goes out, he lines up, you know, in the prelim 100 meters, and he blasts through, and oh, geez, and he's the 4th qualifier to the final. So then, We have an easy day, you know, the next day, and then, you know, he says, I'm not done yet. I promise you guys I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to win. I'm going to give everything I got because I know that those are points that we need, and that if I can make a difference, that those will be points that people can't make up on the end. I couldn't believe it. He got out of the blocks really, really bad. He started accelerating, and at the line, there were 3 guys that leaned at the line. Now, he had run 10:37, right? It was his lifetime PR, 10:32. He had run 10:31 in the prelim. The first 3 guys that leaned at the line, they took them a while to put the times up because it was really, really close. 10.12, first place. 10.12, second place. He was second place. 10.12, third place. It was a 3-way virtual tie. You know? And he earned 8 points. He was scheduled to get 0. We won the national title by how many points, guys? 4 points. 4 points. It was an unusual situation because we're not used to getting points there. You know? But I think that what happened is that he said he was going to do what he did. The other guys, you know, came out. The girls won the 4x1. Drew won the 1500. Boris won the 800. When it got to his turn, he's thinking, they've been doing what they say they're going to do. I'm going to do it. You know? And it's just that effect. It's mesmerizing. When you have that kind of electricity and you transfer it to your teammates. This is the greatest sport there is. Be a part of it with somebody else. And sometimes, if you're the only kid at your school that's a good runner, sometimes your team doesn't have to be a whole huge team. Sometimes it's just you and your coach. Sometimes it's you and your parents and your coach. I know that when I was in college, my program was not very good. My roommate, he you know, at first he wasn't, but after a while, he became really committed, and I felt like every time I went out to run, I was going to run hard to try to inspire him or to do my best because that was my team. You know? And so a team is a lot more than just the whole huge thing. But it's that mentality, it's the same. Do it for something bigger than yourself. And you certainly will reach greatness. I really appreciate, is Virginia in here? Yeah. I really appreciate you guys taking the time, your week out of your summer to come to camp. It's a great opportunity. If I'm at a meet that you're at, I don't know how many times I get to far away. I know we got people from New Jersey to California. I mean, all over. But if I'm at a meet you're at, you better come up and say hello and talk to me, and I'll take time to talk to you and wish you luck. You know, I'm really proud that you guys took a week out of your time to come and share with us at camp, and I wish you guys Godspeed and a great year. But make it happen. Make it happen. Don't allow it to happen. Don't wait for somebody to give you something. Make it happen. Okay? Now, Virginia, why don't you explain to these guys what they got to do to check out of their dorm?